Hey everyone, it's PB here. Hope you're doing well. This is the fourth video in the communication segment, I guess you'd call it, or playlist, however you want to put it. In this particular video, we'll be looking at sociological factors. Now, sociological factors, that basically means who is around you that can influence or change the way that we communicate. A good example of this is just, have you ever noticed that sometimes when you're around someone, um, you know, or if they're around somebody else and you notice that they're either talking differently or maybe they're swearing a bit more, not in a bad way, but just in general, sometimes people change the way they act around certain people. Um, and that's, yeah, certainly something to keep in mind. Now, this is something that can affect you in a number of different ways. So, the first thing to think about is, have you ever felt like you're being pressured into doing something, like kind of like peer pressure in a sense? Um, you know, you're being pressured into doing something that you're not comfortable with, and that kind of pressure can then start to get you. You can start to make mistakes, or you can get really anxious. You can maybe even start to doubt yourself. This is certainly something to be mindful of, and sometimes when you push too much, it can make things worse. Even if you have good intentions of trying to motivate, that person or whoever you're talking to, it can sometimes have the complete opposite effect. And in 90% of these cases, they'll likely feel too uncomfortable to tell you. Um, and in instances that they do tell you, and you push further, and then they try and push you further, it can make things even worse than before. Um, so even if someone is feeling pressured and they tell you that they want you to back off and try and take it a little bit easier. Back off's probably not really the right word, but not to pressure them as much as they may feel uncomfortable. Even if that's the case, sometimes it can, as I just said, sometimes it can make things a little bit worse to begin with, and this is something that's you really got to think about. It's something I see quite a bit, is peer pressure, or not just peer pressure in general, but anybody. It could be anybody who's around you, um, who who could be pressuring you in all sorts of ways. And as I mentioned before, it could be anything from um, asking you to do a specific task that you haven't done before, or um, yeah, a range of different things. Um, and so yeah, that's really is something to sort of keep in mind. Something else to keep in mind as well is sometimes, if you're feeling like you're not being liked about the people that are around you. So this can happen a lot when poor communication is happening, as well as if the person doesn't have the confidence in themselves and doubts themselves. Now, I know from personal experience, I doubt myself a lot. I know I've certainly got good qualities, and I've got the knowledge to be able to do things, but I still doubt myself. Now, that also has to come into different things like being the way you learn. Sometimes the way you learn to do something can build up your confidence and stop you doubting yourself, but we'll get into learning styles a little bit down the track. Um, I remember a number of times when I've been um, gone to do something, and I've doubted myself because of it. It could be in any kind of area. It could be anything from, as I mentioned before, it could be anything from doing a simple task to doing something quite hectic or work related even. Could be anything, even, talking with family or friends and stuff like that. Certain things that they may say that you may feel, I guess you could say, offended by, and that makes you feel uncomfortable. And because of that, that's when communication is very key. If you're not liking what someone has said, open up, be upfront. And if they snap back at you in the sense, and they start calling you names and all this kind of stuff, say, oh, how dare, you're a coward or something like that, use certain other words, but trying to be family friendly here. So, but things like that, if you start getting people saying things like that to you because you're trying to communicate, then they certainly don't belong in your life. Communication, very important, and people around you in particular, because who you hang around is essentially, things they do and say could rub off on you, and yeah. So it is really something to keep in mind on how you feel about someone, or how someone feels about you, and how that can affect what you do, what you say, and what the other person does and says as well. So, yeah, certainly something to be mindful of. Um, another thing as well is, again, which comes down to sociological factors as well, is that sometimes this one can probably happen in a number of different scenarios. But if you think of eavesdropping and maybe privacy, um, knowing, not like, if you want to do, like, if you want to talk to somebody about something, know the right time and place to do so, because sometimes what you may want to say may not be comfortable for the person you're talking to. And so be mindful of what you're talking about, who you're talking to, and how it may affect them or other people around you. So things like that, you've got to keep in mind. And a lot of these things, not many people are aware of them. Not many people think about it, and you'd be surprised on how much of a difference it actually makes. It is things like this that might seem small, but in the broad spectrum of things, there are lot more to it, and it really can make a very big impact. Excuse me. And as I was just saying before as well, time and place, knowing, the right time and, place to talk to people about things. But again, this also comes to eavesdropping as well. Like, if you feel you're in a position where you're hearing something that may be a little sensitive, and you don't think that you should be in that particular area, don't be in that area. If you have that opportunity to be able to walk away because you feel that maybe that conversation is something that should be a little bit more private, don't get me wrong. Yeah, they should probably be off somewhere and keeping it private. But hey, we're all human. No one's perfect. And if you can help in that kind of situation, again, a person who may be uncomfortable might end up coming up and saying, "Hey, listen, thanks for leaving earlier. Just I was talking to them and they didn't take me somewhere private, which I would have preferred. I felt uncomfortable in asking." So again, a lot of these kind of things might seem small, but they can have a very big impact. So yeah, certainly something to keep in mind, as I said. So that's it for the sociological factors of this communication video. The next video that I'll be going into is technological factors. So this will be going into how communication can be interpreted through texting and email, and written ones, as well as videos, voice calls, and in person, and the differences between each one, and how you can tell, different aspects of them and stuff like that. So that one will probably be a bit of a long video because there's a fair bit involved in that. But see how things go, and yeah, hopefully you can join me in for that one as well. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you got got a bit out of it, and hey, as I said, if you have any questions or anything, or check out some of my videos, yeah, just comment in the section any questions you have, and I'll answer them best of my ability. Other than that, hope you all have a good one, and it's PB. So thank you, much love.